Welcome in, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled to be sitting down with you today to dive into this explainer. We're going to break down a truly powerful, deeply emotional narrative that is just, well, it's a game changer. Today, we're zeroing in on an incredible story of resilience, of sisterhood, and ultimately of community triumph. It's the story of four sisters who looked at the seemingly impossible odds stacked against them and just decided, you know what, we're going to rewrite our own destiny. If you love stories where sheer grit and unity completely overcome overwhelming obstacles, you are absolutely going to be captivated by this one. So let's jump right into it. Now, the central question driving our whole explainer today is this. How did four impoverished sisters use their hidden talents to not only save their home, but rescue an entire community? What is so totally fascinating about this source material is how perfectly it maps onto the classic hero's journey. I mean, we've got the humble beginnings, an inciting incident, a seemingly unbeatable foe, and then this triumphant community-altering victory. It really sets the perfect stage for an inspiring deep dive into the true power of human potential.
Section 1. Dreams Under a Leaking Roof. The Struggle of the Four Sisters.
Okay, to really appreciate their triumph, we first have to understand their ordinary world. We're looking at the reality of a widowed mother, Savitri, and her four daughters living in a broken Basti hut. When the sisters talk about wanting a proper, concrete house, Savitri grounds them with this harsh but very real statement. Build yourself a palace, but for now, eat your roti quickly. This quote beautifully contrasts their crushing everyday poverty with the grand, soaring dreams these girls hold in their hearts. They are literally eating flatbread on the floor of a leaking hut, but they are daring to dream of palaces. The details of their daily struggle really hit hard. During violent storms, all four sisters would have to huddle together under a single tattered quilt. The tallest sister, Jumki, would even jokingly complain about the lack of space just to keep their spirits up. And then there's the youngest, Payal, getting scolded by her teacher because her school shoes are completely torn apart, but they simply can't afford a new pair. Between the elder sisters working at a government school, a stitching factory, and a local food stall, literally every single penny they make is instantly swallowed up. It all goes to their mother's medicine, electricity, and milk bills. They're entirely trapped in a cycle.
Section 2. Four Sisters, Four Talents, Unlocking Their Potential.
But right here is where the narrative shifts. The eldest sister, Mira, firmly decides they have to break this cycle. And what's really interesting is how they do it. They realize they possess an incredible, very specific arsenal. These weren't just hobbies, right? These were going to be their ultimate weapons against poverty. Mira has an incredible gift for dance. Radha is incredibly skilled at stitching. Junki, who dreams of being a famous heroine, has this natural, undeniable flair for acting. And Payal, the youngest, possesses this deeply sweet singing voice. When they combine these gifts, they realize they have the whole shebang. They have everything they need to start their own initiative, the Shikshan Kalakandra, right out of their broken hut.
Jumki really hit the nail on the head and summed up their defiant optimism when she said, "Dreams only come true if you wake up and work for them." And honestly, the very next morning, they did exactly that. They woke up totally energized. They didn't have massive marketing budgets or some fancy studio to work out of. Instead, they hand-wrote pamphlets and hit the streets, distributing them all around the Basti to tell their neighbors about the new center. And you know what? Slowly but surely, the neighborhood children actually started showing up at their hut to learn.
Section 3. The Moneylender's Ultimatum. A Sudden Storm.
Now, no great story is without its major conflicts, right? Just as the sisters start to feel a real glimmer of hope, this rude moneylender named Ramesh storms into their hut. Let's look at how this pressure builds. Years ago, Savitri secretly borrowed money from Ramesh to fund her daughter's education, and to do it, she actually mortgaged the papers to their very hut. So now, in the present, Ramesh issues a terrifying ultimatum. He tells them they have exactly 1 month to repay this massive debt or face eviction. 1 month or they are thrown out onto the streets.
50,000 rupees. That is the exact number they need to save their home. To put that into perspective, it's an absolutely astronomical amount for a family that can't even scrape together enough cash for a new pair of school shoes. Complete silence fills the hut. Even the usually energetic Mira is totally shaken. But then, Jumki speaks up. She had spotted a poster in the city for a local talent show, and the first place prize? Exactly 50,000 rupees. It is literally their only lifeline.
What happens next is this rapid, intense progression. Armed with their newly uncovered talents, the sisters dive headfirst into relentless practice. Mira is practicing her dancing for hours on end. Radha is stitching these elegant costumes from scratch. Jumki is rehearsing dramatic dialogues, and Payal is tuning her voice.
All of this culminates in a stage performance that delivers pure, unadulterated magic. The dance, the costumes, the acting, the soulful singing, it literally brings tears to the audience's eyes. And yes, they secure that 50,000 rupee victory, completely stunning Ramesh, and immediately buy back their house papers.
Section 4. Defending the entire Bastion, standing up to power.
Now you think the story ends there, right? Happily ever after. But it doesn't. Just days after returning home victorious, a wealthy real estate tycoon buys the land their Basti sits on because he wants to bulldoze it and build the shiny new mall. This brilliantly illustrates the immense growth of these four women. The tycoon offers them a handsome compensation, totally assuming that forced relocation just requires a big enough check. But the sisters march right into his office and declare their home is not for sale at any price. They look him in the eye and tell him, even if you bring truckloads of cash, this is our home. They went from fighting for their own day-to-day survival to standing up as an immovable shield for their entire community.
And their stance? It sparked a total revolution. The courage of the sisters spread like wildfire. When the other families in the Bastis saw these four young women who had just scraped and fought their way out of crushing debt, refusing to back down to a billionaire, well, it inspired everyone. One by one, every family in the slum threw their support behind them. They rallied together, formed this unbreakable front, and ultimately, the powerful businessman had absolutely no choice but to give up. The community won the battle.
Section 5. Shining Stars of Triumph, a thriving community.
This brings us to our final, incredibly joyous chapter. Jumping forward just 3 months, their center has absolutely blossomed. That leaking, broken hut of the past is gone, replaced by the realization of their grandest dreams. Mira is officially teaching kids both dance and academics. Radha is running full tailoring classes, empowering other young girls in the neighborhood with real trade skills. Jumki is living her dream, directing street plays with the local kids. And Payal's beautiful voice, it's actually reached the local radio. As their mother Savitri notes, they went from not having enough to eat to shining like stars that light up the entire Basti.
So the crucial takeaway here is this. The sisters didn't just escape poverty, they lifted everyone else up right alongside them. It leaves us with a really profound realization. True wealth isn't found in real estate or a fat bank account. It's found in community. So I'll leave you with this question. What hidden talents do you have that could help those around you? We all have a Shikshan Kala Kendra inside of us, a unique mix of gifts just waiting to be utilized. I really hope this explainer leaves you inspired to wake up, work for your dreams, and maybe even change your own community in the process. Thanks so much for joining me on this incredible journey of resilience.